Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited for our next guest. He wears many hats. He spent the last 8 years as a spiritual guidance counselor. He's also the founder of PEW Ministries, and he's also a behavioral health coach. Welcome to the show, Mr. Timothy Hunter.
Peace, King. Peace, King. Thank you. Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you.
Man, it's always good. Like I said, welcome to the show, Christ Over Crypto. We love guests who just are doing things for the kingdom. Certainly, I mean, there's so many places I can start, but I just want to start with the title, Spiritual Guidance Counselor. That is something that you don't see on a lot of business cards. You know, people give you their card and say, I'm this, I'm that, but Spiritual Guidance Counselor is not one that I've seen. Can you just elaborate on what it is that means, and how did you come to that title for what you actually do?
Yeah, man. So, as far as the title is concerned, it's just something that I put on me, because I remember that being in, high school and middle school, your guidance counselor was the person that you went to, get your schedule fixed and get advice for what's at the next level, and how you maneuver through high school itself and getting prepared for the next level of life. You know what I mean? And spiritually, that is what I do on a day-to-day basis. I just help people get to the next level of wherever they're at. I meet people where they are, and I just help them maneuver to the next level. And God has put that on me. Everybody's been using the term coach lately. Everybody's a coach. And I have no faux pas against that. But I just wanted it to be something different. And I pray for it, and the Lord bless me with that. So, it's definitely God ordained and God signed.
Yeah, I mean an incredible description. I mean, I think you know the coach is kind of cliche. I agree, but certainly the guidance counselor is a great way to describe what you're doing, meeting people where they're at, something that is sorely needed in the kingdom. Obviously, I introduced you with a few titles. One of the other ones, you say you're a behavioral health coach. What does that mean exactly? I mean, a lot of times you hear about mental health or different physical health. Like, what exactly is a behavioral health coach, and what would you provide for people?
With that, what we do is I actually work in the high school system here in out in Oklahoma, and we go in and we work with the disadvantaged and the kids that have fallen behind, and we just work with them to mentally prepare them to get caught up on their curriculum so they can graduate and be able to go out and either go off to college or work or start a family, whatever it is that they have to do. A lot of these children, they have bigger issues than just not being able to do math homework. Some of these kids, they have to worry about where they're going to sleep at night. Where's the next meal going to come from? Some of these kids have meth addicted parents and, from broken homes and abusive relationships, so we go in and we help them mentally and to get to that next level and to, help rehabilitate them mentally and put an emphasis on the mental health aspect. We work with psychiatrists and psychologists, and it's a whole package that comes with that. It's just not me going in and sitting down with them. We actually take the time and work with different health facilities to, help facilitate that healthiness and growth of the mental capacity to help these young people be able to prosper.
Man, I mean that's some good stuff, but I mean some of this stuff sounds pretty heavy from a standpoint of I know you probably have your own family and you've seen these other people struggling with these issues. Does that take a toll on you, physically, mentally, spiritually when you're dealing with situations that are, as you mentioned, people struggling at home with parents and behavioral problems? Like, is that something that you have to work hard to maintain your energy? How do you recharge yourself on the day to day dealing with these tough situations?
Oh man, it is. It's my firm belief that as Christians, we have to get excited about Christian marriage again. I come from an era where, family was everything. Family is first, and Christian marriage was at the forefront of that in the community and in the church. You know what I mean? Brother Turner wasn't Mr. Turner; he was Brother Turner. And Mr. Hunter wasn't Mr. Hunter; he was Brother Hunter. And so that is where I find my strength from God and from the family that He has provided me with, man. And I believe that in order to make America great again, we have to make marriages great again. We have to make family great again. We have to make that bond great again. And that's what's going to solidify and make this thing work. Because somewhere along the line, we've lost the oomph to want to make marriages work and make family work. And we've come up with broken homes. So I'm a firm believer that, my strength comes from my God, first and foremost, but then secondly, from the family and the support system that He's given me.
Wow, man. That was a good answer. And that was also a great slogan to put on a hat. If you want to make America great again, make marriages great again. I mean, can I get an amen to that? That is really, really, really good. One of the other things you mentioned, family. And I want to touch on this. I mentioned you're the founder of Pew 13 Ministries. I know that comes from a family tie. Can you just explain to the listeners out there what is Pew 13 Ministries, the genesis, and what the goal is of that vision?
Yes, man. Pew 13 comes from the name itself. Pew, the back pew is where everybody sits that's really not paying attention. The new people sit on the back pew, the 13th row. The young people that's not listening to the sermon, they sit on the 13th row, the back row, and they all, congregate and stuff like that. And so I want to be able to be a voice that can reach from the front of the church to the back of the church, even if we're not even in a church building. You know what I mean? And 13 is just, it's my favorite number. Some people are scared of the number 13. I embrace it. I love it. I was born on the 13th, and great things tend to happen to me on that day. So I just combined the two and came up with Pew 13. But as a ministry is concerned, it goes back to my grandfather and I. We used to text message at 3-4 in the morning. He was 73 when he passed, man, and he passed in 2011. And as a coping mechanism to not having those conversations with him at 3 and 4 in the morning, I began to send out, inspirational messages. And, I was just doing it to, as my way of healing and my time of bereavement. And then it just really escalated from there. And now we have the email ministry, we have the social media ministry. We go into homes, we go into churches, we have, over the phone ministry. I mean, man, this thing is just really taking off, and really excited because real soon the podcast will be relaunched. We launched it in November of last year, but we're going to do an official relaunching this year. So we're excited about that and where God has taken us and what He's doing through Pew 13.
Man, that is really awesome. I mean, it's amazing how God works everything together for His glory. I mean, obviously, it wasn't. I can't imagine it was a happy time to lose your grandfather, but just what was born out of that moment is so powerful. It's just amazing what God can do, even in tragedies, what we consider to be tragedy, right? I mean, anytime a saint goes home, it's not really a tragedy. We just receive it that way, and on this side, in the physical body, it's hard to reconcile. But man, that is a great story. So let me ask this question. So Pew 13 sounds like a great initiative. If I want to connect with Pew 13 and I want to know what you're doing, how do I find you guys? I hadn't really heard of you. Obviously, we got introduced to a mutual friend, but how do I find Pew 13 Ministries? How can I connect with you guys?
Oh, great question. I appreciate that. Right now, we're on social media. We're on Facebook. You can catch us on Facebook at Q13. You just put it in the search engine and it'll pop up. And we also have the email, Q13info at gmail.com. It's Q13info at gmail.com. And, we're building this thing from the ground up. And so there'll be more ways to communicate and to reach out to us. But as of right now, those are the mainstays, and those have been very effective. And we have people that are checking that stuff and constantly waiting on everyone to send messages and to come and like and share and comment on the page, man, so we can really just take this thing to the next level.
Yeah, I mean that sounds, man. You're definitely already at the next level. I guess my question, I'm gonna get you out of here soon, but I got a couple more questions for you. One is, um, what do you feel like is the biggest challenge that you faced, as far as spreading your ministry and trying to get other Christians activated? What do you feel like is the biggest challenge in that?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I believe that the biggest problem that we have had is we have had a target on our back. And it's not just us that had the target on our back. From the first time that God has blessed us back in Genesis, we have always had a target on our back, right? Because I imagine that the little guy was sitting around. I don't call him by his name. He's the little guy. And this year I've adopted a new name for him, and I call him Hambone. So if you hear me say Hambone or the little guy, I'm talking about that guy that's underneath us, right? So turn around. As God was creating this world and this universe, Hambone was already down here, right? So he's seeing this stuff pop up, and he's getting excited. And he's like, oh, man, I don't know what that is. What's the name of that? But I'm going to go play in that, and I'm going to go work that, and I'm going to go check that out. And then all of a sudden, God put man here, right? So Hambone got upset because he thought all of this was for him. And I imagine he sat there and he became an instant hater. And once he became that instant hater, he decided to try to divide and conquer. And whatever he can't divide, he's going to try to destroy. And whatever he can't destroy, he's going to try to disrupt. So every obstacle that we have faced fall under one of those three categories that the little guy has tried to throw at us. But, when you know who you are and whose you are, and your foundation is solidified, every throwing stone that they throw at you, you in turn turn it into a stepping stone to victory.
Whoo, man, you're listening to Mr. Timothy Hunter. We're on Christ Over Crypto. You can listen to this show or any other show on iTunes. Just subscribe to the podcast there. It's under Christ Over Crypto. We're also on YouTube, where you can check out exclusive interviews like this, as well as other content. Man, that was really, really something that you said there. I really like that way you're putting, I think understanding our place and the position we have over said little person. I think it's important that we keep that perspective in mind. That's a great thing to take. I'm gonna get you out of here on one more question. So is how big, and obviously this is a leading question, and God will obviously show you, but has God shown you the vision for how big or how vast Pew 13 Ministries could actually be?
Oh, yeah, man. God works with me in visions, and he's given me several visions. The problem is that, like some other Christians that I know, I slept on God. I wasn't in place. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. So instead of being on, year 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we're really on like year 2, because I didn't handle my business as far as what I was supposed to do with the podcast years ago and stepping forward. I was shy and bashful. But this thing is, we're looking to take this thing internationally. Please forgive me. I've been working with some great guys out in Orlando, Florida. Couple brothers of mine, Orlando and Atlanta, and out in the DMV area as well. And they're called the Academy of Kings, and we've been working with them. I'm very excited about what we're building with them. It is the Academy of Kings, the only male advocacy group in the country. There's no other advocacy group. You can Google it. And the Academy of Kings, they specialize in high performance male leadership and life, business, health, and relationships. And I just love the environment and the energy surrounding these young kings and building with them, And with that, we entitle various other things, and Pew 13 is one of those things. And it's just, oh man, I just can't speak enough about how excited of where God is taking this thing, because it has, we've touched people in, I want to say, at least 35 states right now. And we've also been able to minister to people in Canada as well. So we're already international, So I'm blown away. Wherever God sends me, I'm gonna go. I tell Him, send me, I'll go. However we got to work this thing out, I'll go, Lord. So that's just what I'm doing, man. I haven't. It's not mine. So I don't want to sit here and say, well, my plan or my vision or anything like that. If God tell me to make a left, then I'm going to take a left. If He tell me to make a right, I'm going to make a right. And that's because I feel as if obedience is better than discipline. And before I was disciplined, I was getting up every morning and I was sending out these text messages and I was encouraging people, but I wasn't obeying what He was telling me as far as taking it to the next level. So now I'm at the point where I'm mature enough in my walk with Christ to say that obedience is better than discipline, and wherever He says this thing, I'm just going to obey.
Man, amen to that. Man, that was an interview. I encourage you guys to go back and listen to this. There was a lot of stuff in there. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it myself. Thank you, Tim, for coming on. Again, guys, this was Mr. Timothy Hunter, spiritual guidance counselor, behavioral health coach, founder of Pew 13 Ministries. Connect with him on Facebook, connect with him on email, pew13info@gmail. Man, thank you for just coming on. We really appreciate it here on the show.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Connect with that brother right there, too, man. That brother is special. You are a wonderful blessing to the kingdom, brother. And you're explosive, man. You're explosive. And I just pray that they don't take you to break wherever you go, man, because you're somebody. You are somebody, brother. I love your whole vibe. I love your style.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Timothy Hunter, Pew 13 Ministries.